Hi friends, welcome to Automate and Chill. Today we have Justin Charnell for programmatic SEO with us. Today we will talk about programmatic SEO for affiliate websites. He is pro in this field. He used programmatic SEO to create affiliate websites and rank well in Google. So, hi Justin, welcome to Automate and Chill. Please give your introduction to the audience.
Yo, what's going on, folks? It's me. So I got my start building websites in 2016, creating affiliate sites. Did pretty well my first one, sold it, had a bunch of failures, cut some middle earners, and then I got my start kind of in programmatic. Not knowing I was doing programmatic about, let's say about 2 years ago, I was just creating affiliate posts where I was comparing two products, but I wasn't writing every single post out. I was copying from other parts of the site and piecing it together, and it worked. So that's how I got started, and that was before I even knew what programmatic SEO was. But now there's a name to it, so now I can say, yeah, that's my jam.
What was your best programmatic SEO project and how it performed?
It's definitely the platform comparison sites, or not sites, but platform comparison posts on one site. My experiment, really. That's kind of been my order as I'm experimenting in other places and learning more about like WPO import and all that. But man, the volume is low compared to a lot of other posts, but the click-through rate and conversion rate is like 50%.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. So that looking at the numbers, that's how I kind of was like, okay, maybe this methodology of creating content is good to go.
Yeah. Okay. First, I would like to know how you got into programmatic SEO.
Yeah, so a few years ago, I still have the site, but I started a website and I was doing reviews for different platforms. And I was like, I found kind of a suite of keywords where I was comparing one platform to another. And I was like, what if I just took every single platform I'm reviewing, it was like 10, 12, 15 or whatever, and compared all of them. But I made, 90 posts, 100, whatever, 150 posts, whatever it came out to be. So I asked on buildersociety.com, I said, hey, is it like how much duplicate content on your own site would constitute, quote unquote, duplicate content, penalty? And nobody had a real clear answer, so I was just like, you know what, let me just experiment. So I took sections of each, like the different reviews, turned them into reusable blocks in WordPress, and then just kind of stacked them on top of each other. So it was like, for example, if this was like SEO tools, it'd be like about SEMrush, then be about Ahrefs, and then pricing of SEMrush, pricing of Ahrefs, and you go down the line, not rewriting any of the content or writing new content, but just using that existing content to create these pages. And that worked. So I said, well, this was kind of before I knew the term programmatic SEO.
Yeah.
This was me just experimenting on one of my sites and the experiment going well. And then it turns out there's a name for it, and I kind of just was like, all right, like this might be something good to do.
Yeah. I was also following this programmatic SEO from a long time, but as you know, all on Google or on of the blog post, everyone talk about programmatic SEO for corporates. But what I like about you is you use programmatic SEO in blogging thing. I also use it in blogging, but yeah, I want to know how you use it for blog, like you said earlier.
Yeah, so there's that way with kind of the comparison post, this versus that. Also used it. I'm kind of experimenting with use cases right now where I was seeing like, what if we just took a list of every city in the United States and applied, some virtual service, and not very fruitful. But I think moving forward, I think comparison posts, taking alternatives to, and that like top alternatives to SEMrush, and be a block of Ahrefs and a block of SERPstat and a block of all these other SEO tools. I haven't really done it for like information posts, how to do keyword research. I haven't done programmatic SEO for something like that. I think that you might as well just write that kind of article. But for me, on the affiliate front, comparison posts, alternatives to, really kind of middle to bottom of the funnel buyer intent searches, and they don't get a lot of search volume. But when there's 5 people looking for this versus that, they're gonna make a purchase at the end of that, at the end of that post. So
Okay. I was reading your blog post in which you have shared different strategies on how to find the keywords or how to creatively find the programmatic SEO niche. So, can you share some more tips on how to find the keywords or niche for a programmatic SEO project?
yeah, it's funny because I am quite literally drafting up a presentation to record a video after this about keyword research for programmatic SEO. I just closed out that window. Funny enough. Let me open it back up so I'm bright again.
Yeah.
So the thing with programmatic SEO is that, in typical editorial SEO, it's very much heavily based on keyword research, where you log in the tool, find the keyword, you write about it, it's a little competition, whatever, you realistically rank for it. With programmatic SEO, because you're creating so much stuff easily, you don't necessarily need to rely on keyword data for everything. It's more like you need to take existing keywords and extrapolate the data or figure out, make an educated guess on how much search volume a page or post could get. So in the example in the video we record, I think it's like a butcher in a city. Say you want to make a site for people to find butchers. A butcher in Kansas City, where I'm at, the metropolitan area of Kansas City is about 2.8 million or 2.2 million. So in that search gets about 1,300, estimated monthly searches, or that keyword gets about 1,300 monthly searches. So if you take that and apply it to a city with 10% of the population of this metro, you could realistically estimate that city would get 10% of the search volume.
Yeah.
Because geographies people don't change. Assuming it's not like a vegetarian city for whatever reason, but or region, whatever. So you might not have search volume for one city, but you could realistically make an estimate based on search volume for another keywords in a city. So it's a lot of extrapolation, it's a lot of guesstimating, but at the same time you're not putting in the manual labor of typing everything. So if you're wrong, that's okay.
Yeah. Like, I want to ask you how to find that head terms for, because I know you create the programmatic SEO for blogs. You use programmatic SEO for blog and niche websites. I want to know how you find the niche and how you get the keyword ideas, how you get that keyword patterns to create the programmatic SEO project. Any strategy you would like to share?
Honestly, it's the exact same way you start with an editorial site.
Okay.
If you're doing a product-based site, or you want to sell a product, you want to start with find the most popular product in that niche, whatever that may be. If it's microphones, this is the E835. You punch in Ahrefs or SEMrush, whatever tool you use, E835 space verse, VS, and that'll produce a list of other microphones that are also as popular as this one because people are comparing the two. And that'll send you down a rabbit hole where you have a list of 30 microphones, and all you gotta do is create or find the information that you need, price, features of it, where you can buy it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And if you have a list of 100, or if you have a list of 10 microphones that you could write about, that's 45 verse posts, and that might bring in 600, 700, 800 visitors a month, but the conversion rate on those posts is much, much higher than top 10x or how to use the thing or something like that, because those people are ready to buy. They're looking at two specific things. They're got to pick whatever one fits their use case at the end of that post.
Yeah. Can you give some more example, like you give the example for versus keyword, and can you give some more example of these headers and modifiers, like best X, Y kind of things?
Yeah, I think best X for Y you can do programmatically. Alternative to, man, I have a spreadsheet somewhere with all these kind of modifiers in there. I think the for modifiers really well. Realistically, if you have a list of modifiers that are buyer intent, you have a good, you know what I mean? Like, there's no, I guess, secret keyword modifier that is exclusive to programmatic SEO. The same stuff that will work for editorial will work for programmatic. I wish there's, I wish I had like some secret sauce, but there really isn't any.
Okay. Would you mind sharing that sheet if with our audience?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can send it to you afterwards, or I can compile it. I mean, like I said, it's the same as if you Google it, like any other kind of buyer intent keyword search modifier. If you Google
Yeah.
that, you probably get the same, list of It's not extensive. It's like 5 or 10 things. It's not crazy good. I don't. But it's just handy.
Yeah. You use programmatic SEO mainly for affiliate things,
Yes.
and have you ever worked for AdSense or display ads niche?
I don't really like doing display ads as my primary monetization method, primarily because you are totally tied into your earnings are equated to the traffic you're getting.
Yeah.
So if an algorithm update comes through and it wipes 50% of your traffic, 50% of your earnings are gone.
Yeah.
I do have a few sites that earn a few dollars a month or a day or whatever, but that's not really my jam. I think it could be good if that's what you're into, because then you can target more informational based keywords which are less competitive. But that's not my jam.
Yeah. What's your take on Google spam update for the programmatic SEO projects?
I don't follow updates. I
How
really don't. I really don't.
how your sites are performing after these updates?
So the one site I talked about, the first one, the experimental, like A versus B, that's up, I think, 15% over the last 7 days and the last 28 days. Like, I'm seeing some pretty good things on that. And most of those programs are recurring, so things are going well.
Yeah, that's great. How you use data sets? You scrape websites or you get data from somewhere?
Yeah, previously I would just go and look for one on like I think it might be dataset.google.com. Google has their own dataset search engine. There's a bunch of Kaggle. There's a bunch of different dataset sites. The subreddit for datasets. I was kind of doing it the lazy way when I was kind of experimenting and learning how to do programmatic SEO, learning WPL import. That's the plugin for WordPress that I use. And then I would just find a data set, take whatever data was presented, and use that. I don't think that's the way to go anymore. I think taking a data set and modifying it and adding multiple data sets into one, adding your own information, coming up with your own information, kind of taking the data that's provided and manipulating it in a way that creates unique data. I think that's the way to go. Because I was just, like I said, taking a list of cities in the United States and creating 70,000 pages.
Yeah.
Not beneficial to anybody. Not good use case. I mean, it was more experimental, and it reflects. It reflects on the traffic. It reflects on the earnings.
Yeah. You do programmatic SEO with code or no code tools?
All no code tools.
All no code. Can you recommend few tools you use or?
Well, like I said, the plugin I use for WordPress, WPL import.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Yeah, absolutely. Beyond that, Google Sheets. I mean, I don't really have a set of tools that I use. So I guess no code was, I guess, between the two options, it is no code because it's Google Sheets, WPL import. But besides that, I mean, I use Jasper, but that's for,
Content
writing.
thing, yeah.
But as far as scraping data, as far as pulling data in from other sources, I don't have anything yet. I have an idea that I could share, but it would require a data scraper and then a data parser, and then going on from there.
Yeah. I have published about this podcast in my Facebook group, and they have few questions for you. First question they have is how to create a programmatic SEO strategy with WordPress and how to avoid duplication, like thin content penalty they might be talking about.
Yeah, as far as strategy goes, I'd say, man, it's tough because it's the exact same strategy you'd use for a typical niche editorial.
Yeah.
You're just producing content in a different way. So the strategy is the exact same. If you've got some low content keywords you want to target, in this case, I guess the keywords are, you might have 10, but you're going to figure out 100 or 500 posts you're going to create from those. It's really the exact same. Sorry, what was the second half of that question? How to prevent duplicate content?
Yeah. How do I duplicate content?
So, in my experience, I might be wrong here, I probably am wrong. I don't think duplicate content is a thing when it comes to your own website.
Okay.
I think duplicate content is when you copy from somebody else's website onto your site.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I was taking probably 80 to 90% of content from other posts on the site, using them on 20 different pages, and it was good. The only thing that would be unique would be the introduction, the intro. So I don't think duplicate content is a thing when it comes to your own site. Otherwise, e-commerce sites would be crushed. You know, it's weird. As long as you're creating something that's actually useful and genuinely good, I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Here, duplicate content, I think they are talking about the thin content penalty. For example, if we create pages versus pages, we have very less content. Like we for the headphone example you have shared. For example,
Sure.
we create one headphone versus different headphone, and we just replace the keywords, and then it comes under Google doorway pages penalty. So I think they are talking about that thing,
I can't really speak on it.
duplicate
Yeah,
pages
yeah.
between our website.
I did a little bit of research as far as doorway pages go. I don't know. I mean, if you're creating some really terrible content, you might get slammed.
Yeah.
But again, if you're creating something that's genuinely useful, if you do a search for, this is the E835 versus the, I'm trying to think,
I'm using mono.
S758. Oh, okay. So this mic versus that mic.
Yeah.
You'll come to a page you'll come across is one where it's just the data. There is no written content. So I think the user's intent is not necessarily, they're coming to read an article. They might be coming to just look at numbers. A good site that I like to bring up is technical.city. That's the URL. Like instead of .com, it's .city. All it does is compare GPUs and CPUs. But all it is just a presentation of data.
Yeah.
How much does it cost? I'm not a GPU guy, but how many RPMs or whatever metrics they use for performance. That's all it does is just list them. But they go down the line, like 3,800 combinations, which comes out to like 47,000 pages worth of A versus B type posts. But they're getting 2 million visitors a month estimated.
Yeah.
So thin content, I think that really applies more to like articles. We're not creating articles here. We're creating creating simple comparisons. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if all you're doing is saying, this mic versus that mic and listing the price, yeah, you're not going to do anything with that. But you have to actually provide the features, the benefits, the
pros,
decimal
cons
range as far as the hertz and everything.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah. Okay. Another question is, shall we build single language programmatic SEO website or multiple language programmatic SEO website?
I think stick with a single language at first, and then if you see some results from that, branch off to multi-language. I did that with the site. That's kind of like my main site, the main breadwinner. I'm going to bring it up a lot. That site I did translate with DeepL and Translate Press, and I'm seeing magic.
Yeah.
But it was also I was already ranking high because a lot of the content that was written for it was low competition, was stuff that wasn't in the keyword tools, but I figured, hey, I can create this really easily with the default ranking does. So I was like, all right, let's branch off to other languages because I knew there's an audience in different countries. And again, it worked. So I think start off with one language and then branch it off into multiple languages when you start seeing results.
Okay, and there's a following up question for this. If multilingual programmatic SEO works, how to build one and what are the traps we should be careful on?
Say that first part again, please.
If multilingual programmatic SEO works, how to build one and what are the traps we should be careful on?
I'm not really well versed in multi-language websites, but I imagine it'd be the same as a single language. I think, well, like I said, DeepL and Translate Press, those two combined. I think Translate Press is like $100, maybe a year. It might be one single license for lifetime updates. DeepL has an API which you connect really easily to Translate Press. You can set limits on there. It's super inexpensive. I think I translated my whole site, which had about 500,000 words, for maybe like $250 total.
Yeah.
So just use those two. I experimented with a few other translate posts or translate plugins as far as WordPress is concerned. That just stick with Translate Press. that's just the bottom line. And then get DeepL. Don't use Google Translate. Get DeepL. It's a lot better, in my opinion. Use those two. And again, when you go and create the languages, I use the folder, subfolder method as far as, .com/ES for Spanish /RO for Romanian or whatever the case is. And that's working. You might need to do a subdomain. I've only done it for one site so far. So I can't. I'm not the expert in translated websites.
Yeah. Okay. And one last question is how to create the programmatic SEO website for coding niche.
For coding?
Yeah.
Holy smokes, that is. Man, they gotta pay me for that. That's some consulting questions. Let's brainstorm.
I think she might want to create website for coding languages like PHP,
Yeah.
WordPress, Python.
That would probably have to.
Like we need to find the headers, then modifiers, then the data set. So how would you
I'm
create
trying to. I think the data set would be the hardest. I don't know if you'd be able to find that. You'd have to produce that on your own.
Yeah.
Would it be difficult to produce? Probably. It'd probably be just the biggest pain in the butt. But I think it'd be very fruitful at the end. You'd have to come up with your own data set. You would have to create your own. You're probably not going to find that unless you find like some tutorial-based data sets where it has a list of every function and the description, and then you can figure out how to use that. But man, that's complicated. It's complicated because I think it would be very fruitful and very good if it was done well. But as far as finding a public data set with that, good luck. I don't know if I can answer that question.
Yeah. How you use your data set? Like you create your own data set, or you scrape the data, or you buy it?
Yeah. I first just public, but now I'm getting into just creating my own data sets because that's something that nobody else can copy. Nobody else can take the information that I have gathered. I mean, they can, but it's not a one-click download where 20 people can download the same data set and all use it, instantly. I'm especially on like the product front as far as affiliate goes. It's creating my own data set, gather that information. I have used researchers previously, but if they don't do as well the job as just doing it myself, I think I'd have to hire somebody. But yeah, I'm strictly in-house data sets, moving forward. Maybe get some public ones for some information, but not just relying only on public data sets.
Yeah. I had podcast with Deepak, and he shared a strategy. Like he shared like he used different data set and create and combine them in one data set. For example, if we want to create a website for a car niche, he find the data set for car makers and their variants, and then different data set for their specs, features, and then combine that data set and create a complete template.
Absolutely. I think that'll work. I think that works well. But it would be much better if you provide your own something. When you're looking at car data, it's not really much you can provide or I can provide. That's not, as far as statistics and features and benefits go, whatever. But if it's something like the programming website, she should have either her own insights or there have to be some manual input in that. I don't think it should be a completely automatic. Rip a data set, upload it, format it, and you're good to go.
Yeah. So you are also using GPT for content, or you are just using Jasper for the template part? Like what I was trying to experiment is I was giving the data from the publicly available data set and give it to the GPT for create the introduction paragraphs, conclusion paragraphs, subheadings, and it was giving the factual data because the main thing, the data we have given to the GPT, and it is given the, it just have to explain it in, a paragraph format. So what's your take
Yeah,
on this?
I think that's incredibly beneficial. I think that's very useful because, again, you are feeding it data.
Yeah.
My thing with using the AI tools, like I said, I've Jasper pulled up right now in another tab, is if you let it do its thing, if you just say, hey, write something for me, it's going to spit out something. But if you feed it 5 data points, it's less than you want to generate, more just you want it to take that data and just expand on that. Just that information. It's good to go.
Okay.
I like it. I like it. I think with OpenAI, they have a really good API that can connect to like Google Sheets. So you can, like, I think Ariel Phoenix is doing something with the bulk publishing as far as just literally dragging and dropping and having it
Yeah.
generate 100 paragraphs like that, based on keywords, based on how the formatting should be, based on all these parameters. So it pumps out the exact thing that she wants.
Yeah. So what do you think the future of programmatic SEO would be? As you know, Google is constantly giving the updates for SEO thing, and spam updates are coming. What's your take on this?
Yeah,
Like how Google will treat our programmatic SEO projects?
yeah. I think the cream will rise to the top, just like it always has. If you're creating like a Me Too site, like you're going to rank accordingly.
Yeah.
If you're creating something that's genuinely useful and unique and helpful and good, actually the best possible thing. I don't think programmatic SEO is an excuse to be lazy or create spam. I think it's just the method of creation. I don't think the
Yeah.
method of creation uh, it needs to be complicated in order for something to be good. So the future is, as long as you're creating good stuff like you always have, then you're going to be good. If you're like all those sites that I created when I was learning how to do programmatic on like a larger scale, they're bad, and it reflects.
Yeah. Uh, yeah.